One of the first projects we're tackling today is building this Ramada. Now you have to have a good foundation for your posts. So what we did is we dug some holes about 2 foot deep. We used these 8-inch diameter sonotubes. We sunk them in the ground, filled them with concrete, and while the concrete was still wet, we anchored in these post bases. They have some legs that go down into the concrete. You have to wait about 24 hours for that to cure before you want to be working on top of it. After that was done, we were able to go ahead and put in these 4x4 posts. Now, if you're using a bigger post because you're making a bigger Ramada, you can get the sonotubes larger diameter. So there's a lot of variation that you can work with there. We put the posts up, and what we did is we put in these temporary 2x4 cross braces because we have to give it rigidity to be able to work on top of it. Plus, that lets us square this up and really get it plumb with a level all the way around. Plus, we can check our dimensions to make sure that we've got our 10 foot by 10 foot square dimension for the Ramada structure. After all that is in place, then we're ready to go ahead and put the beams up on top. Now, after we've cut our beams to fit, these are actually 12-foot long beams. We're building a 10 by 10 Ramada. I wanted a little bit of overhang here. We added a little angle cut here for some design. Plus, the homeowner actually had us lower this a little bit lower than I would have normally built it. These posts are only 6 foot high. So most normal people couldn't walk underneath these beams, so this will also keep them from bumping their heads. But she needed it lower because the Homeowners Association said that it can't be very tall. So we're accommodating her. You will be able to walk into under this end with a full 7 foot of clearance. But what we did is we sized our beams and then we cut a notch out for all of our joists. We just did a little 1.5 inch deep plunge cut and then took a hammer and chiseled that wood out. So that'll help give the joist a little rigidity on top of this whole structure. We also have these pretty heavy duty post and beam anchors. They get nailed into the posts here. They're also nailed into the beams. And then we have these lag screws that we just go ahead and ratchet right into place. And this pretty much tightens it up. Now, this particular Ramada has a pitched roof because the house has a pitched roof, and she wanted something that would go with the architecture. But I built these many different ways. I've done them with flat roofs. A lot of times then what you would do is you would actually have 4 beams on top, the 2 this way and 2 this way, and you can go ahead and notch those beams together to go on top, and it helps give it a little bit rigidity that way also. And then you can put just 2x6 joists on top, flat, and 2x2s on top of that flat. But this one's got a pitched look to it. So we're actually ready, because we put most of our joists up, to put the last joist up and in place, and then we're ready to put on the 2x2s. As you can see, once we get this first 2x2 in place, and we actually use it to level up all these roof truss joists, then everything will be locked in. And all we have to do then is take a spacer in between each end for every one of these 2x2s and just work our way all the way down the slope. Once we're done with that, we've got our shade structure done. A weekend project for you and a couple of helpers.